Hi all, welcome back. Part two, really, of these questions that I had around the Bain family murders. Uh, as I said in part one, I had one of the ladies that follows me ask me to do this. And it's not something that I have looked at before, but have always found very interesting. I love listening to podcasts and bits and pieces on different events happening around the world and all sorts of things. So, yeah, I thought we'd just give this a go. Let's see what happens. So, just recapping, I suppose, really on the first part was connecting into the energies of the people and the house. So what I did feel before I even started to do the readings was Dad feeling usurped and degraded. It was the final straw that broke the camel's back, really. Mum with mental health issues, which was that addressed? I don't know. And I was also shown polarities as well when I did that. So from that I picked up the bipolar and that feeling that I got when I connected in. It was manageable, nearly manageable, this first part of their marriage, but returning to New Zealand it became unmanageable. And whether that just actually tipped it over the scales at that point, I don't know. With the kids, I picked up that they struggled to understand from day to day how the emotions were going to be in the house, and hour to hour, even at times as well. They learnt to tiptoe around everything. It felt like it was shifting sands. That was what I felt when I connected in, and being peacemakers as well between, but for everybody really. Because they needed to, well, particularly with the parents, they really did play the adults a lot of the time, where the parents really couldn't. Oh, David himself, I got sitting on a throne, given Dad's role, power, responsibility. He was very transparent about the fact that this was his role, and I got him a lot of the time skiting and bullying Dad. Struggled to handle the responsibility at times and resented this also. He was out of his depth a lot of the time, and in the end Mum started to turn on David, which was kind of interesting. Yeah, so that was really interesting. The house energy itself was tacky like tar. It was dark, wayward, evil, spirit world, and I feel that was an old patriarchal, dense energy that Mum would call on, connect with when she was connecting into her higher power, and easy for wayward energies to actually connect into with mentally unwell people. It's very easy to attach themselves and to use that them because of the fact that they're so open and unwell and don't have that strength and resilience to be able to ward off. And I know that sounds a bit odd at times, but anyway, it is what it is. So the first card I got up with that was sacrifice. Oh, let's turn that around the right way, and can we even show that properly? wasn't intending to be here in the room we were staying to actually do this part of the reading, but it is what it is at the moment, seeing as we're kind of making our way to our next port and next job. So sacrifice. Okay, so the question that I had with that one, and I'm sorry I didn't actually cover this because I had a wee technical hitch. The question that I had, sorry, in part two. Oh, I do apologise for this. I had a wee had a wee moment. The questions that I had in part two were around the investigation into this. The part one was really around the people themselves and the murder and the imprisonment, but what I wanted to know was actually about the investigation in part two. So that first card was sacrifice. Let's take it over this side. Oh, that's better. Look at that. Got that right there? No, nearly. Anyway, sacrifice. And yes, they had a plan in mind. They had a road that they were going down. They had a clear set path, and that was what they were going to take. So irrespective of what the truth was, they were going to change the direction to suit themselves. So interesting. So the second card that I got in that one, and let's try and get this around the right way. I'm so sorry about this, people. Ah, there we go. Conflict and defeat. Oh, the office is working on this case. This was particularly difficult. This didn't sit well with them mentally at all because they knew full well that this was not all honest. Some of them actually questioned their superiors as well, and didn't bode well for their careers. Victory and success. They had a plan to work to. They heralded that quite early on. They directed the outcome. Directed the outcome. See that? Spiritual strength. Again, some of those people, those officers that were involved in this investigation, really, really had to dig deep. Because if this was the career that they wanted, then they were going to have to dig deep to keep in with that. Okay, so all positive movement forward. Rudder. What I first see in that is the rudder of the boat. Direction. They were going to make this easy on themselves. It also was going to always bode well because of because of the type of investigation that it was, the number of people, a whole family having been slain. They needed to have a positive outcome out of this because it looked good. Okay, sorry about this, people. Prosperity begins. They'd sown the seed, and it also meant that they could move forward. Interesting. Let's have a look deeper now. I have shuffled these before because, as I say, I did have a technical hiccup. Interestingly, I'm not all, even though I may have worked in an office for many, many years, I'm not always that great technically. So anyhow, I had already shuffled these. Writers group. Cooking the books. They built it to make it exactly what they wanted it to be. Creative expression. Isn't that interesting? That creative expression comes up along with that as well. But interestingly enough, that I get in that picture as well is these two wee kiddies playing, like skipping along, but like they're in the theatre. They've created a storyline. So, third question, blocks lifted. And that goes along with the victory and success card. Interesting, isn't it? So the removal of those obstacles, which gives you the victory and success. They've overcome the hurdles to get to the top of the mountain. What have we got next? Time management again. That came up in part 1 reading as well. And in that, with that time management, we've also got priorities and spiritual strength. So those officers who really had to dig deep, questioning themselves being in the force, they actually had to decide on their priorities. Is this what they really wanted for themselves going forward? And for some, it really became quite a mental it was soul digging. Listen only to love. This is interesting, along with the positive movement forward. Distractions. It says don't allow fear to distract you. But that's interesting as well. I actually wonder at times, looking at that positive movement forward, even though they were in charge and we're going into smoother waters, they directed the traffic here. I wonder at times whether they were called into question or whether they feared the public actually realizing what had gone on. Superiors. It's the superiors actually realizing what may have gone on. They needed that outcome. What's this last card here? Have confidence in your creations. Now, interestingly enough, and I shuffle these cards, I seriously do, even though you didn't see me do it because of my technical hiccup. I do shuffle these cards. Now, this came up in part 1, which is really interesting. And it goes alongside the prosperity begins. And what I see with that having confidence in your creations is fear. the officers on the ground level, having fear in whoever was overseeing this case. They knew their careers could be at risk. Interesting. So the next question that I had around this, and yes, you are seeing me actually shuffling the cards this time, but let's change the laptop a little bit, was, oh, excuse me, I'm going to cough. Was the conviction rushed to assist a leading officer's career promotion? So I'm going to take that as the first card because it really did want to jump out there. Okay. Excuse me, I'm sorry about that. I often get that cough as well when I'm doing a reading, if I'm being silenced, or if there are people being silenced that are actually having to hide the truth, or being stifled from speaking. So that's interesting that this is coming out now with this question. Okay, 2 more please, Creator. Just 2 more. Thank you, you can come out. Okay, 1 more. Last one, thank you. Right. Was the conviction rushed to assist a leading officer's career promotion? Firm foundation. He already had a firm foundation. He knew exactly what he wanted and where he was going. He had to make use of this. He was going to make use of the people that were around him anyhow. And I'm wanting to say that there were strength, power, bullying. I'm getting a lot of yelling in the background as well. Really just... So he may not have actually called, the leading officer may not have actually called on the officers on the ground. He may not have actually directed it as such with the officers on the ground, but the pressure was applied, particularly through force. Force of language, volume. Interesting. Okay, what else we got there? Heartache and loss. This is a mental card. This was easy. This was an easy way to promote himself. There was no way that he was going to let this one slip through his fingers. No way. My apologies. Very easily to play on the heartstrings of New Zealand with this. Solar plexus. Power. Really wanted that power. awareness. Knew that he could create it to get exactly the outcome that he wanted. Focused, and so intensely focused on that outcome. And it actually didn't matter what anyone else said around him. He had a vision, had a direction to go in, and yep, he was going in it come hell or high water. Last card there, people. Right, choose wisely. Knew that he knew that if he didn't make this work correctly, it could be career damaging. Okay, so let's pop these back out here again, and let's get out the other cards and lay them over top. Oh, best one. Thank you. Sometimes they really do just want to jump out, and although you can't see, there is so much stuff in and around me, and I don't really want everything to be falling into bags and household stuff, and then I have to go fishing. And everybody who knows me knows that I can be really quite clumsy. And so it would be quite likely to happen. Okay, last card clear. Oh, thank you. Right. Let's see what we've got here. Detox time. Huh. Single-mindedness. That's what I get out of detox. It's that single-mindedness strength. Like body is a temple, mind is a temple. It's so focused. Knowing exactly what he wanted out of his career. This was not always, for him, it was not always about getting the truthful, honest result. It was actually always about what's going to look best for me. Interesting. Oh, retreat. Can you see that there? And we also, that came along with the heartache and loss card. Interesting. Okay. It's a bit of a shock to New Zealanders, and that heartache and loss we had, what had come out was pulling on the heartstrings of New Zealanders. But this was a bit of a shock to New Zealand. It really was, and it caused a lot of looking inward for New Zealand, particularly with being in a small South Island city. So a lot of introspection on this, and so it was easy to manipulate the heartstrings of New Zealanders because it actually felt like it could be, a family that you know down your own street. Okay, so the next card that we got was Listening Only to Love. And this one came up last time too, didn't it? Solar, and this is with the solar plexus chakra, but this is about the power thing as well. With the solar plexus, we've got, the power center there, but on that Listen Only to Love card, we've also got that elder, somebody that is in leading, in power, that is advising us, that is pushing us along, not allowing any distractions to actually get the result. The other message that I got in that as well is that it was pulling out all the stops until they got exactly the result that they were after. Law of attraction there goes along with awareness, which is actually quite, and it's that single-minded focus, bringing in the results exactly what he was wanting, come hell or high water, as I said last time, driving those results to be exactly what wanted. Last card. Okay, so we have got new project. He was going on, furthering on his career with the Choose Wisely. Knew the direction that he wanted to go in. He was going up. Interesting. So I think that fairly much, there are actually some really good answers out of those questions there. Yeah, quite interesting. More so than what I thought it was going to be. Very direction focused, very directed. Anyhow, I hope you have enjoyed that as much as I have, and I shall see you again soon. And just remember, please let me know if you're enjoying these, if you've got any questions, anything that you is sitting in the back of your head thinking, oh, I really would like to know that. Can we ask that question? So please do send them to me, because I would love to do this for you. Take care. Bye.